My name's Jennifer Tucker, and my husband Brian and I own Moose Mountain Ranch, where we raise heritage livestock. Primarily we raise hand-spinning wool sheep, but we have a few goats. We have both Boer meat goats as well as some dairy goats.
Our operation, my husband and my operation, is called Annaroon's Sheep Company. We have about 125, 130 breeding ewes, approximately 5 main breeds with just a few periphery breeds that we're using for crossbreeding. The perimeter fence on our property is all what we call a field fence with a small square 4 to 5 inch squares and then a few hot wires on the top. Sometimes it's electrified, sometimes it's not. And what that does is keeps, for the most, it will keep neighbors' dogs out, or at least the smaller dogs. It will keep out coyotes for the most, though we do use llamas and burros for predator. In the pens around, I use cattle panels. Within the pens themselves, I'll use what we call a hog panel. It's maybe 30-some inches tall.
We do have a barn here. We have a 36 by 48 pole barn structure that we built for horses, and the sheep and goats have moved into. So what we've done is we have 3 12 by 16 foot stalls that we use primarily for lambing and for kidding, and so that they're the most protected. It's an insulated barn that we can enclose and close all the doors and keep things ventilated enough through the opening doors, but keep them locked into the barn to keep them dry and safe. We've chose to go with the porta sheds, which are basically a mobile hog sheltering system, and they work really well for us. I will caution folks with a lot of goats that tend to climb. You want to make sure that the back window is secure. So with the porta huts, I've seen a lot of folks just use portable buildings, sheds, and homemade things that they'll throw together. And as long as the goats have a good dry spot to go, they're happy. But they've got to have someplace out of the wind that's dry. We use a variety of different beddings depending on what animals we're serving. The dairy goats seem to do best on just shavings, pine shavings. The guy that I get them from, he does a really nice job of making sure that they are pure pine shavings, so I'm not getting anything that could be toxic to the goats. The main reason we don't use deep bedding is because we're a small acreage. I need to get the manure out. I have people coming to see their animals that they keep boarded here. They want to see a fresh, clean, dry stall, so we keep that bedding turned regularly. We do have a significant number of predators here in this area, and fencing is the most effective method. If we can keep the predators from getting in, we really don't have a problem. Up till recently, I've maintained livestock protection animals. I've had both dogs and llamas, and we had better luck with the llamas than we did dogs. I've had dogs previously, but in a small acreage situation, the problem with livestock protection dogs is they tend to own more land than you do, and they want to patrol hundreds of acres, and keeping a very athletic dog in a fence you've designed for sheep can sometimes be difficult. If you decide that you're going to have a livestock protection animal, whether it's a donkey, a llama, or a dog, you need to consider your neighbors, because the llamas tend to be most passive. They're not going to be aggressive towards other people, and really, if they spit on someone, they're probably not going to injure them. Donkeys can be that next step up because they can kick and they can bite. And then your next level of liability is going to be that livestock protection dog. We're on a small acreage, and obviously that reduces how much time we can spend with our animals out in the open. So we really try to magnify the effect that we have through nutrition, and that's probably the biggest aspect. Drought years, Colorado and this entire area is so prone to drought, so we have hay markets that fluctuate pretty dramatically. So with that, securing feed is a huge aspect of what we do. We're constantly changing how we feed and water our animals. They've presented us with challenges. Animals walking in feed does nothing but destroy feed. So we've tried several different types of troughs, and I can't say that we found one that we love, Primarily we're using a commercial trough. They're pretty slick bottoms, so the animals don't like to walk into it. They'll sometimes put one foot in them, but there's no bar across them. They're really easy to flip over if you need to get the old grain out of them. It just makes it easy to keep them clean. Well, here on the Front Range, we actually have a very mild winter. We have a few days of intense snow and sometimes blizzard-like conditions. But our biggest concerns in the winter is wind. And our feeding program does not change from summer to winter because our animals are not getting anything from the pasture. So we don't really change our feeding program, but managing your hay so that the animals are able to eat it before it blows away is actually sometimes a challenge. Using feeders can be helpful,